Hi there, I'm James Faulkner and welcome to this short video series on the future of investment research. I'm thrilled here to be joined by Franita Neuville, who's our Investment and Advisory Performance Director for Middle East and Africa. Franita, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me, James.
Franita, lots of talk about alternative data. What exactly is alternative data?
Right, so James, as you rightly say, there is a wave washing over the asset management industry globally at the moment, where everyone is just looking how they can actually incorporate alternative data into their investment decision-making process. So alternative data is any data that is not necessarily produced by the reporting company itself. So it doesn't form part of the usual financial statements. And examples of alternative data is, for instance, satellite images, which can predict how well retail sales will be by taking photos of corporate or retail parking lots to see how busy the shops are. Also web scraping, where data is scraped off of websites to see how much traffic is going to certain companies on their websites, what's being ordered, and as a result to predict how their sales is going to look in a certain quarter. Another example is geolocation information and again satellite imagery to try and predict how well crops will do and how well the crop delivery will be during a certain time frame. And then lastly, also another example is credit card information to again predict retail sales, but also how good the economy is doing at the moment, and to predict consumer confidence. So those are the kind of information that's being used in the investment decision-making process now. It's not just about looking at income ratios anymore.
Interesting. Doesn't sound like an easy process. So on the back of that, what solutions or platforms are Refinitiv offering?
So we have some solutions that we can offer already, and that's been around for a while already. Our StarMine models are deemed as alternative data, as well as our market cycle indices. So those are two solutions which we have available at the moment. And then lastly, we also made a partnership or went into a partnership with a company called Battlefin. That partnership was signed in June or announced in June 2019. And as a result, we are going to work with them on their platform called Ensemble, where they make alternative data available to clients and customers. And we are very excited to be able to work with them on initiatives on that front.
Interesting. Lots of talk about ESG. If you don't mind, explain a little bit more about ESG, the theory, and what are the drivers behind it?
Sure, James, it's very interesting because at this stage the drivers behind ESG metrics and this whole ESG again wave washing over the globe at the moment, it's across the entire investment industry, right from the supply side to the demand side. So what we're seeing is that more corporates are actually making ESG metric information available into the market, which means that those data points can actually be analyzed. And as a result, more and more analysts on the buy side and the sell side is looking to incorporate ESG metrics into their investment decision-making process. This again enables the investment firms to be able to launch ESG and responsible investing products, such as the Diversity and Inclusion Index and ETF and other ESG products. What we're also seeing is asset owners are starting to realize their social responsibility and the role that they have to play in society. And as a result, the money that they actually look to reallocate to third-party managers, they now take their ESG policies into perspective. So for that third-party manager, they actually have to show that ESG is important to them. And then lastly, from a retail perspective, we're seeing more and more people on the street actually asking for these ESG products. And a big part of that comes from the millennials, where these individuals are now getting more and more funds that they can actually invest, and they're in a position where they can save money. So they're asking the questions, what is the ESG rating of this fund or this stock that I have to put my money in? They want to know what the social impact is of where they're putting their money.
So on the back of that last question, how are we facilitating our customers' needs regarding ESG?
So our ESG offering is very important to Refinitiv, to keep it competitive. And as a result, globally, we gather about 400 different metrics when it comes to ESG on companies, and we incorporate a little bit less than that into our ESG analysis to ensure that companies can be comparable. And we also have recently launched a product called Sustainable Leadership Monitor, or SLM, where we actually combine ESG metrics with financial metrics to see how sustainable a company is. We also incorporate our star mine models into this app, which brings in the alternative data there as well. So it gives a very nice holistic view of how sustainable a company is, both from an ESG perspective as well as from a normal, financial data perspective.
Fantastic. Franita, thank you very much for your time. Very insightful.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.